Okay, this is the Ghost character. I'm going to begin by explaining how the model is set up, then talk about the controls that are used to pose the model, and lastly talk about how the rendering process works. So the first thing to mention is that there are two versions of the Ghost character in the scene. There's a low resolution model that you can see here, and this is on the layer named Low. And there's a high res model that you can see here on the layer called High. And you can see here that the high res model is much smoother than the low res model. Now the reason for this is the high res model is really slow to respond when you try to pose it, but it looks great when it's rendered. So we have a low res model that we use to pose the character. This responds pretty much straight away, and then the high res model is just used for rendering. And as you'll notice, when the low res model is moved, the high res one matches the same position. So inside the model is the joint hierarchy. And this the model's geometry is attached to this skeleton. And this works in the same way that a traditional clay model would be attached to a metal armature. There's also seams that run along the edges of the ghost's clothing, and these are attached to the model. So as the model moves, the seams stay stuck to it. Okay, so now I'm going to talk through the controls that are used to pose the character. The first is this main control here, which is called Ghost Control, and this can be used to move the entire model. So it can be moved like that and rotated. There's also some extra attributes on the Ghost Control, which are here. The cloth rotate can be used to rotate the position of the ripped cloth that makes up the ghost's tail. So this number can be changed here. You can see how that rotates that cloth. So that's it rotated 180 degrees and then back again to 0. You can also change how the cloth is repeated here. So you can create a much sort of finer look in the cloth. There's a couple of other attributes here which control how the ghost is rendered, and I'll come back to those later. This star-shaped control is the main control for posing the ghost's body. When this is moved, it doesn't affect the hands, so the hands stay in the same place. Above this there are two spine controls. and you can use these to bend the ghost's torso. There's also a chest control here, which rotates the shoulders, and then above that there's a head control for rotating the head. There's some extra attributes on the head control here, and these are used to position the point of the ghost's hood and also the cords that hang down from the neck. So here we can change this to move the hood from side to side. And there's one for up and down, and then also a twist control.